Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton's story that almost nobody is talking about, and once you hear it, you're going to understand why fans think Kris Jenner might have called this years before it happened. We're talking about a comment she made back in 2015, long before Kim and Lewis were ever linked. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll also see exactly how Bianca Censori fits into this bigger picture, and why so many people think none of this is a coincidence. Let's start with what's actually confirmed, because there's a lot of noise around this story and not all of it holds up. Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton went Instagram official in April 2026, with rumors first surfacing in February after a reported romantic meetup in Paris, and the pair confirming things while traveling together in Tokyo. That's not a rumor anymore, that's a documented timeline. Before that, the two had already been spotted together publicly. They went viral after appearing together at the Super Bowl in February, which is really where this whole story picked up steam. Reporters started circling almost immediately after that appearance, which tells you how much appetite there already was for this story before either of them said a single word about it. But here's where things get interesting. Hamilton has been famously private about his love life for years, and this relationship is the first time in a long time he's let the public in this close. That alone is a big deal if you've followed his career. Now this next part might surprise you. Even after the relationship became public knowledge, Hamilton kept dodging direct questions about it. At the Super Bowl, he told a reporter it was his private life and he wasn't talking about that. That's not exactly the reaction of someone trying to milk publicity out of a new romance. It happened again more recently, too. During a fan Q&A ahead of the British Grand Prix, someone asked whether his improved mood was because of his car or his new girlfriend. He didn't dodge it completely this time, but he also didn't give a straight answer. He playfully directed the moment instead of confirming or denying anything outright. Why does any of this matter? Because it directly contradicts one of the biggest theories floating around right now, that this whole relationship is manufactured for attention. If it were purely a publicity play, you'd expect at least one of them to be leaning into the cameras. Instead, one half of this couple is visibly trying to keep the whole thing as quiet as possible. And this is where most people make a mistake. They assume public skepticism automatically means something is fake. But let's actually look at what people are saying, instead of just accepting the vibe of it. Fans online have openly speculated the relationship looks staged, with some commenters going as far as suggesting the photos themselves were paid for or arranged. Others have flat out said they don't believe it's a real relationship, calling it more of an agreement than an actual romance. An entertainment expert quoted in coverage of the relationship suggested Kris Jenner could see alignment between two global brands and simply let the narrative build itself. That's a bold claim, and it's worth taking seriously as a theory, but it's still just a theory. Nobody has produced any actual proof that Jenner orchestrated the relationship from behind the scenes. Speculation isn't the same as confirmation, and that distinction matters more than most headlines let on. Here's the part that's genuinely blowing people's minds right now. Long before any of this romance talk started, Kris Jenner had already publicly said she'd love for Hamilton to become part of the family. Reports note she once said, back in 2015, that she hopes for him to become a son-in-law. Think about that for a second. That comment is over 10 years old. Hamilton wasn't dating anyone in the family at the time. There was no relationship to speculate about. It was just Kris, being Kris, publicly hoping out loud for something that seemed like nothing more than a passing comment at the time. And now here we are, watching one of her daughters actually dating him. Whether that's coincidence, manifestation, or something else entirely, it's exactly the kind of detail that makes a story explode online, because it feels less like gossip and more like a callback nobody expected to pay off. Now let's be fair to Kim here, because this take isn't new. She's been the subject of strategic dating theories for years, no matter who she's with. Every high-profile relationship she's had has come with some version of the same commentary, that it's calculated, timed, or designed to keep her in the headlines. The same expert who commented on Jenner's possible influence also pointed out that Kim's relationships function like chapters, not conclusions. That's actually a pretty sharp way to put it when you think about it. Whether a relationship is real or not almost becomes secondary in the public conversation. What matters from a pure attention standpoint is that people keep watching and keep guessing. That's actually the machine celebrity culture runs on. Certainty is boring. Ambiguity keeps people coming back for more, refreshing their feeds to see what happens next. But here's where things get interesting again. Hamilton hasn't just avoided questions. He's actually explained why, on more than one occasion, in interviews that predate this current relationship entirely. In past interviews, he's talked about learning the hard way what happens when your personal life becomes public property, referencing his high-profile, on-and-off relationship with Nicole Scherzinger that ended back in 2015. He's also spoken more broadly about watching other drivers settle down while he made a different choice, saying he didn't want to look back with regrets about how he spent his time. That's an important piece of context people skip over completely. This isn't a guy chasing headlines or trying to boost his brand through a relationship. This is someone who's been burned before by public scrutiny and is visibly trying to protect what's left of his privacy, even while dating one of the most photographed women on the planet. Now let's bring in the part everyone's curious about, Bianca Censori. This isn't directly connected to the Hamilton relationship, but it's very connected to Kim's public image right now. And here's why that matters for this bigger picture. At the 2026 Met Gala, Kim wore a metallic bodysuit that immediately drew comparisons to Censori's signature style. Fans quickly claimed Kim appeared to be channeling Bianca's fembot-inspired aesthetic from the previous year. That comparison sparked a wave of who wore it better style debates across social media within hours of the red carpet photos going public. Shortly afterward, Censori was spotted returning to her own bold, revealing style after weeks of more covered-up public appearances, which only added fuel to the ongoing conversation about who's influencing who. This isn't the first time this has happened either. Fans have been comparing Kim's fashion choices to Censori's for well over a year now. Back in October 2024, Kim debuted a short, dark hairstyle that many followers compared directly to Censori's look at the time. Even earlier than that, when Kim wore a body and stockings combination, commenters online joked she was trying to look like Bianca. One widely shared post at the time even asked whether the timeline had come full circle, with Kim seemingly borrowing from someone the internet originally saw as borrowing from her. So this isn't a one-time coincidence, it's become a recurring pattern that fans actively track every single time either woman steps out in a bold outfit. Here's the thing about this comparison, it works because both women occupy a similar cultural space right now. Bold, provocative, headline-generating fashion choices that are practically designed to be photographed and dissected. Whenever one of them wears something daring, the internet immediately looks for the other's fingerprint on it. That's not necessarily proof either woman is intentionally copying the other. It might just be two high-profile women operating in overlapping fashion trends, pulling from similar references at similar events, in front of similar cameras. But the narrative sells regardless of intent, which is exactly why it keeps resurfacing every few months like clockwork. It doesn't need to be true to keep generating headlines. It just needs to be plausible enough for people to keep debating it. Let's be really clear about something before we wrap up, because this is honestly the most useful part of this entire video. What's actually confirmed? Kim and Louis are together. Kris Jenner made a comment about Hamilton over a decade ago, and there's an ongoing fashion comparison between Kim and Bianca that keeps resurfacing. What's not confirmed? That Jenner engineered this relationship behind the scenes, or that either woman is deliberately copying the other's style choice for choice. Those are theories, floated by fans and commentators, not established facts. It's easy to blur those two categories when you're scrolling through headlines fast, especially when the theories are this entertaining. But keeping fact and speculation separate in your own head is exactly how you avoid falling for manufactured drama every single time a new story like this breaks. So here's what all of this really comes down to. Sometimes a decade-old comment, a private relationship, and a recurring fashion rivalry collide to create a story that feels bigger than any single piece of it. And that's exactly what's happening here. Whether Kris Jenner's 2015 comment was a lucky guess or something more, it's clear this family's story is far from finished. And neither is the ongoing conversations around who's really influencing who in the fashion world. If this breakdown helped you separate fact from speculation, you'll definitely want to check out the next video, where we go deeper into the Kardashian family's most talked about relationship timelines. Drop a like if you enjoyed this one, and subscribe if you want to stay ahead of where this story goes next.